If you're looking for a high-powered lens at a low price, stay tuned because we're going to talk about the Rokinon 1.8 24mm. Let's get into it. Okay, let's get into these specifications on the Rokinon 1.8 lens. First of all, it has an aperture between 1.8, that's right, 1.8 and f/22. It has a construction of 11 elements in 8 groups. It has 2 spherical elements. It has 2 extra low dispersion elements. The minimum focus, 7.18 inches. It has 9 bladed diaphragm. It has a filter size of 58mm, very practical. It has a length of 2.81 inches. This is a very compact lens. In fact, they call it a compact lens. It has a weight of 8.11 ounces. This thing is only a half a pound. It has a focus hold button on the side that you can program to do different things if you have the adapter for the Rokinon. It has weather sealing. Yes, this lens has weather sealing. I know, I couldn't believe it either. It has the custom switch on the side that you can program to anything you want as long as you have that Rokinon dock, which is sold separately. It has identity confirmation LED. What does that mean? When you hold in the side button on this, it will automatically find infinity and that green light comes on letting you know that you're ready for Astro photography. That's right, this is an Astro photography lens. It has a linear stepless motor, or STM. That's why I can use it right now to shoot this video. You're actually looking at the 24mm at 2.8. So it's very wide and you're getting to see what that looks like. So that's all we had for the specifications. Let's move on. Okay, let's talk about the images here. The 24mm Samyang 1.8 lens is really a great lens for making landscape images, astro photography, and here, waterfalls. This was shot with the FX30 at 24mm. And what we're seeing here is a falls by the name of Lower Cascades here in North Carolina. I intentionally did not do a lot of post-processing here with this image. So let's get into it and let's just look at how it looks close up. So if I go up here to the left corner, let's take a look at that. The image is sharp. I'm not seeing a lot of or any real issues. As we get closer to the center, it gets sharper, of course. I'm not seeing any distortion to speak of. If I go up here in this corner, it looks good. Everything looks really good. This is a 1.6 second shot at f11. Not seeing any diffraction. That one looks really good. Let's move on to the next image, taken just downstream from there. And this is what we call Cascades at the Lower Cascades. This is a 15-second exposure at f22. Zoom in on this image, we can see again sharp. This one was processed more. I wanted to show you one not processed, one processed, or one not as processed. The corners look good. Not seeing much distortion. Sharp throughout the image. Love the soaky water here. There's not much to complain about with this lens. It really is a great lens. So what I want to do now is I want to spend some time just to prove to you that this is a good lens. I want to spend some time looking at lens charts. I shot some lens charts with this setup. A couple things off the bat before we get started. Down here on some of these, I've got a darker kind of thing going on here, and my camera wasn't super level right here. So you may see this in the first couple shots. I apologize for that. This is f1.8 ISO 400, 1/250th of a second. Let's go up to this left corner. All right. Now, to my eyes, I'm not seeing a lot of sharpness issues. It's a little bit unsharp here, but certainly nothing you couldn't take care of in post. I'm not seeing wicked distortion or anything up in here. You can see it's just a tiny bit unsharp. I mean, we're talking 100%. This is a 42 megapixel camera I shot this with. This is the Sony A7R III. So expect high resolution. Okay, it looks good here. The numbers look pretty good. They're a little bit, some of the resolution's not coming through here, but still really, really nice. Here we're seeing just a little bit of unsharpness. Resolution looks good in the middle, but this is 1.8. I mean, imagine what you're going to see later. Now, one thing I want to point out with all of these images is look here. If you look, you will see this kind of funny looking thing. It looks like the paper's bent. That's not the paper. That is barrel distortion. This camera, or this lens, has barrel distortion. It's not horrible. I've seen worse, but that doesn't bother me. Like, barrel distortion, especially with landscape photography, does not bother me. It may bother you if you're doing Astro. I don't know. That does not bother me a bit. I didn't see any mustache distortion in here. I did not see any chromatic aberration. You know, when we look in here, I'm looking for any sign of any kind of fringing, and I'm just not seeing it here. We got just a little bit. If we look up here, just a tiny bit of this green right here, but not bad at all. Not bad at all. Yeah, just a tiny bit of green up there at the top of the paper. Interesting. Okay. So let's move on to f2.8, which is another one that you might be shooting at. f2.8, here we go. And let's zoom into the middle. And the middle, let's let it load up here. Okay. Lots of great resolution here. Look how you can see every little line converging on the center. That's how you tell if a lens has great resolution. Again, a 42 megapixel sensor, so that's a pretty big sensor. Now we're starting to really sharpen up here. Things are looking better overall in the corners. Corners are nice and sharp now. Are we seeing the fringing? Almost completely gone now at f2.8. Still looking really good. Toward the bottom here, it's holding up pretty well. Now we are at f4. Let's zoom into the center. Oh man, now we're really getting there, right? This is f4 is really its sweet spot. This lens is tack sharp at f4. I mean tack sharp. Go up here to the corners. Corners looking good. Looking for that chromatic aberration. Completely gone now. Chromatic aberration completely gone. The whole image is now sharp. It is sharp corner to. Ooh, look at it. I mean, I can see the grain in the paper. Okay. By the way, I pulled back the sharpening. There's no sharpening on these images whatsoever. Okay, let's go to the next image. Now we are at f5.6. Let's zoom into the center. Again, excellent resolution. It's about the same as f4. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, we're at f8 now. Now f8 is where we're starting to get into that zone of you might start to see some issues. This is where a lot of times we start when we're doing landscape photography. Let's zoom into the center, let it load up. Still excellent image quality. I'm not seeing any diffraction. Barrel distortion is still very much involved, but it's a tiny bit less as we move down. As we move down to f22, it's going to get a little bit less. You're going to see that. Still no chromatic aberration, but I mean, I can see every little dot in here. Even here with the lines, none of the lines are really converging on each other. They're not blurred together in any way. The eye chart here is tack sharp. Man. Wow. I don't know who could complain about this. Let's move on. Now we're moving up into possible diffraction area. Zoom into the center. Let it load up. Still tack sharp in the center. Good resolution. Moving over. Excellent eye chart coming up. You can see that barrel distortion right there. Coming up. Look at this. Sharp. Up in the corners, sharp. Coming across. Looking for any kind of chromatic aberrations. Shouldn't be seeing any of that now at all, and we're not. Again, awesome. No diffraction whatsoever. Moving on to f16, looking for diffraction, looking for diffraction. Okay, and boom. Okay, I'm starting to see a little bit of fuzziness here. So we're just barely starting to see the first signs of just the tiniest amount of diffraction, especially down here on these little letters. Not much though, not much at all. I would expect to see it in here with these lines. Still very sharp, starting to lose a little bit of sharpness. I would be happy shooting this. Okay, let's move on. F22, let's let that load up. Okay, now we're seeing some diffraction. Now we're definitely, you can, as you look here, you can see we're losing some resolution. So the edges are not as crisp. If we move over here to this S, you can see it in the S now, but still acceptable. Here we can see that diffraction on the edges, and now in here in the lines, we're starting to get some blurriness here. Man, still though, I would shoot this at f22. I would definitely shoot this at f22. No problem. Put a little sharpness on it in post. You're good to go. So that's it for the images. What do you think? Let me know in the show notes. Let me know what you think of the sample images, and let me know what you think of these lens charts. Now, these are not like super scientific lens charts. I just wanted to give you an idea of what to expect going forward. I did my best to keep the camera as level as possible with the wall and so forth to get the best image. I used a ring light to light it. But, you know, let me know what you think. To me, this lens is probably better than almost every inexpensive lens out there. Let's just say that. Anyway, let's move on. Okay, so what are my thoughts and the conclusion on this amazing lens? First of all, it's compact. I can carry it anywhere. It doesn't get in the way. I'm not a huge landscape photographer, but when I need it, I need it. And it's so lightweight at half a pound. It doesn't need to take up any space in my bag because it's so small. It is a good Astro lens from what I'm hearing from everybody. I don't use it for Astro. I use it for landscapes, and I use it for video vlogging. It is a lens that doesn't break the bank. It's around $500 or less. Compared to other lenses in its category that are much more expensive. It has very low distortion. I mean, there's just not a lot of bad things to say about this lens. I recommend it, I own it, and I think that especially if you're someone like me that's a wildlife photographer primarily, you need to pick up a 24mm for other tasks such as wildlife, vlogging, whatever. This is a great option for you. Anyway, thanks for watching. Make it a great day and get out there and enjoy nature. Bye-bye. Hey, thanks for watching this video. You know, if you really want to help me out, and I hope you do, please click like and subscribe below. I know we all say this, but the fact is, there's nothing better that helps us than you being involved, than you watching these videos, and your support. Thanks a lot.